Jai Hind, friends. We all know that the 3rd to 16th December signifies a lot in the Indian history. Probably it was one of the most decisive and planned war India have ever fought. It was planned and it was fought according to our terms. And that's why we can see a definite decision after the 71 war, the birth of a new nation, new independent nation, Bangladesh. And today we have with us a hero of 97 war to enlighten us about his experience as a young officer during the 1971 war. Colonel Probir Sur from 3 Rajputana Rifles actively took part in the 1971 war and this day, exactly 50 years ago, fought bravely and defeated the enemies. Today, we are honored to have you, sir, in our Vartalap to know more about the 1971 war.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you all.
Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor that we will be able to listen to you today. So, sir, before moving into Jaisalmer, you were in a peace location in Nasirabad. So, sir, we would request you to start to share your journey once you moved into Jaisalmer, sir. Sir, could you hear us, sir? Sir, can you hear us? Sir?
I
Sir,
can't
can you
hear you.
hear?
Now, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
But
Sir,
between,
please share your journey 50 years ago in the war of 1971, sir.
okay, uh, yeah, Adrija and Anasua, thank you once again for giving me the opportunity. And I must tell you that it is exactly 50 years past that just to, and that is the time we were really excited. In fact, I had just finished my young officers course, and I was just 20 years old, 21 years to be precisely, and we were stationed in a place called Nasirabad in Rajasthan, but we moved actually to our operational area during October itself. October. In fact, we celebrated our so-called Diwali in the forward areas and much expected. In fact, there was a lull time. There was nothing much happening except going for familiarization and carrying out the reconnaissance of the area. But other than that, we were really expecting that when would that Diwali will actually come up, because we could not actually celebrate our Diwali that time. So we were waiting for that. And we had gone into the Jaisalmer sector. You must be knowing the famous area called Longewala. Longewala was part of our brigade. Another battalion was holding that area, Longewala, because they were in the defensive role. And my battalion, 3 Rajputana Rifles, were in the offensive role. Just to correct you a little, it was instead of 3rd, I would go to 4th of December. 4th of December, we were given that, the balloons went up and we moved in. In fact, we could see the real Diwali that day while, crossing the international border and going for the Pakistani post Islamgarh fort. In fact, on our left-hand side, we went while moving to the international border, we saw the Pakistani post, which is the border post, Shakirewala Khu. I still remember the name. was bombarded by our Indian Air Force, the Hunter Squadron, and the bombers. They really played hell with Shakirewala coup. People, I think, ran helter skelter from there, leaving the post totally to the Indian Army. And that is the time we crossed. And the same night, fourth night, third Rajputana Rifles had captured the post Islamgarh. Islamgarh was a fort and was held by the uh, Pakistani troops, and that was captured that day. At the same day, the Longewala was going strong. With Longewala post was encircled by the enemy armored troops and others, and they were totally giving a tremendous defensive role at the Longewala post. So I finish it here only because that was not my role. I only told you that I was a part of in the Islamgarh attack, and I was with my commanding officer, and the battalion captured Islamgarh fort. Thereafter, you all know that fourth, fifth night, how the things happened, how the Longewala was saved from the enemy, Pakistani enemy. You may get another person who has seen, really what happened exactly at the Longewala that time. But however, after Longewala stabilized and Islamgarh was under our, we had already captured under our command. So on 8th of December, it was not expected. On 8th of December, I think it was around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, my commanding officer came back from the brigade headquarters and he summoned me at his bunker. So I was thinking, because I was the intelligence officer of the commanding officer, so I was thinking that he must be planning for a visit somewhere to some forward area, and I was planning to, get his jeep ready, everything ready, so that we can move together. But to my surprise, he told me that, Probir, I am going to send you on a special task. So take down some orders and all. It was already at his place. Our battalion 2IC and adjutant were there. And as you know, army officers always carry their pen and notebook always, because you don't know what time what will be told and to jot down those things. So I was having that and I was ready to take the orders from the commanding officer. The commanding officer told me that you get ready the next day. I was given the task to infiltrate into Pakistan about 15 kilometers from that post which I mentioned earlier, Shakirewala Coup post, and go inside about 15 kilometers, and on the road Islamgarh Rahim Yar Khan, the road Islamgarh Rahim Yar Khan, there was a post called Bhaikanwala Khu. So I was given the task to attack that post and capture. The order was given that by 1000 hours on 10th of December 71, you will be capturing post Bhaikhanwala Khu, which was told to me was held by a section. Section means about 10 people. And accordingly, I was given a platoon strength with me, that is about 35 people, 30 to 35 people, along with 81 millimeter mortar group, the intelligence group. So these were all had gone with me. We left next day. I mean that day when I told you that 8th. After that, we started our preparation, getting how much ammunition to be taken, what all thing, what 2 days food to be ready with us, because there was no question of any dinner or anything. So whatever dry food. Uh, I don't know whether you people know shakarpara. Shakarpara is a thing made of atta, maida, and sugar. So those were the thing we stocked, and some water. Everyone had the water bottle with them, and of course we were more keen on taking load of ammunition, grenades, and our weapon. So this was the main preparation, and we were given the vehicles to go up to Shakirewala Khu. That was the roadhead where we got down, and we were briefed by the post commander there. Actually, I got the 81 mortars section from there only, from the post Chakiriwala coup, that was under 3 Jat. Well, thereafter it was all by foot, walking, and we had to go very, very quietly, silently, without giving any chance to the enemy. We were going inside, and we made it slowly and slowly. Finally, we could reach our destination. We didn't want to go reach early, so we reached the destination around the last light, maybe around 6 o'clock in the evening, the last light, and we formed up a farm base there. Farm base means, the place where, we initially start, occupying that place to, further go for patrolling into enemy area and know about the exact positions, locations of the enemy. So, anything here you would like to ask anyone? Or should I carry on?
Sir,
So you
carry on.
can,
I'll carry on. Okay.
yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that night was the most, I would say that another very, what should I say? It was firstly, it was very cold. Month of December 10th at Rajasthan, it is, I think, the coldest time we could have. And as the night was, after 10 or 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., it was really, and we could not move much. There was no question of movement. We had to be very quietly, observing the enemy. I had sent my patrols. I had even myself gone on a patrol out, and we at least came to know that the enemy is there. They were there because we could hear their voices. We could hear them, getting some the defense work going on. Like, they were still, I think, not fully prepared for in the defense. So they were on the way on preparation of the defenses. And in fact, that is the time we noticed one of the vehicle approaching that post from the, I would say, from the western side, not western, that's right, western side. There was a vehicle was approaching with headlights on. They were not bothered. They never thought their their father is already sitting on the top and watching you on your headlights and all. Okay, so that gave us the correct idea because the vehicle moved exactly to the post, and we were now knowing that where is the post exactly because of those headlights. And thereafter, within, I think, another 1 hour, there were 3 more vehicles came, and we were quietly observing them, not making any sound, anything. Our job was to observe them. But by now, like, you can say very well that 4 vehicles movement into that area with lot of halla gulla, people, they were singing, they were while working, they were singing also. They were, their langar was on. So a lot of, that langar food was being distributed to people. We could hear everything except seeing them. We could not see them in the dark. It was totally dark night. Okay, it was on the third phase, and the moon was supposed to come only after 12 o'clock, after the midnight. But we could, from the sound and all, whatever they made, you could follow them, and you could make out that this is not a section strength. What I said, the information was given that it will be a section of 10 men or so, but 4 vehicles and so much of sound and all, you could make out that it is much, much more than, the strength is much more than a section. So still we could continue to, carry on our patrolling and see them and, feel their movements and all closely. And now I was very confident that the strength is definitely a platoon plus, or even more than that, maybe a company. Company means about 120 or people, and the platoon about 30. So I could make out that at least the strength will be about 90 to 100 there with whatever the thing was going on. And I had how many people? I had only 30 people with me. So, but I was uh, as we were doing this, my commanding officer on the radio sets, he was telling me that what happened, young boy. I hope you're not scared. You're not. So I could tell him, no, it's no question of fear or anything, but it is main thing that whether I would be able to attack with my, the limited strength which we had on that kind of a strength of the enemy. So so he realized my point, and very nice of him that he immediately sent the rest of the company, that is another 60 to 70 people, as a reinforcement to reinforce me for preparing the attack. Okay, so they took their time. If we could move and take so much time during the daylight or in the afternoon, and they at the absolutely darkness and total dark, they would have taken much more time, which they did. So they reached around 4 o'clock in the morning. Their entire people reached around 4 o'clock morning. But I must tell you my little experience, that what happened during this time, that between 4 o'clock and from the time we reached there at 7 p.m., about 6, 7 p.m., whatever. This is the time it was not only the patrolling was going on. I had to tell my boys that you have to take on some kind of a defense position, so that if we are attacked by enemy, because we were in a foreign land, you can imagine we were in a foreign land, we knew nothing about that area, we didn't know what is the village like, what is everything, we had no idea. We just know that we were sitting on a higher ground and we could see the enemy, that's all. But so I told them that the enemy might have seen us, might have, and that was the thing. I felt that what's called the panic. You must have heard that word called panic, P-A-N-I-C, panic. Okay, so that I could really gather as a that people were, and everyone feels about their own life. So the panic was coming up, that are we encircled? Is the enemy taking us that way? They have seen us totally. So that is the period was very, very difficult. Firstly, bitter cold. We could not lit any fire. We could not lit any torch. There's no question out there in that area. At the same time, you are scared. You cannot talk to each other because the sound travels very fast when there is total silence. So even if you whisper, we used to feel that the enemy may be listening to our whisper even. So this is all panic. Like we are thinking that what can happen, what can you may be butchered here or anything. But overall, as we knew that people are coming, so we gain little more that we could overcome whatever the fear the people is happening. And I and my Subedar, the junior commission officer, Subedar Sir, Subedar Sambhu, who was already must have seen the earlier battle like 65 war, and earlier. He was much experienced person. So he was telling me that take it coolly. Because at one time, when the commanding officer told me that I think you can go ahead with the attack. So this Subedar Saab was the chap who told me, "Ki Saab, you are a bacha in the army now. You're just, like my son's age, and you don't know. You have not seen the war or anything. So you will slowly come to know what is it, and you cannot think of doing. Let's wait for our strength. Let us have our strength, and then we go ahead." So this was the
How old were you at that time, sir?
pardon.
How old were you at that time, sir?
21, 21, I told you, 21, 21. But people must not have even had their, what you call, job started, isn't that? But we were from, the age of that, early 18 and 17 and 20, we start getting into that, the army officer. That is the thing. Anyway, and you could have that, so many lives were in my hand that time, because after all, I was their commander. I may be a 20 years old young boy, but I was a commander after all. So I had to take that responsibility over everyone. So anyway, by 4 o'clock, after all this, what should I say, a very, very gory night, But later part, as I told you, that the moon was in the third phase. So after 12 o'clock, the moon started coming out, and it was bright moon. I think, as far as I know, they not how many days after Purnima, if it is third phase. Okay, so moon was, and once the moon was out, you could see your own shadows. Okay, so now we did not see our own shadow, and now we could see our own shadows, and always taking it, there the enemy is coming. That kind of a thing. So nothing to worry. 4 o'clock, these people had arrived, and now a Major Saab was there, Major Janakraj Rajput. He was there with the entire company of about 70 people more. So we were about 100 plus hand now, more than 100. And one little, my worries were little lesser then, because that after the company commander, the Major Saab had arrived, at least my responsibility had definitely lessened. It had come down a bit, isn't that? So I briefed him over, I showed him everything and told him, and he told me that yes, we will go for the attack at the early morning, that the first light, that is the best time when the enemy is taken on the weaker point. Okay, that is the time the enemy, normally if someone is sleeping, he gets up. If somebody, so that early morning time, always, we consider as the best time to attack. So we waited, and at the first, before, in fact, first night we started moving, where we had to form up. We call it FUP, that is the forming up place, where we had to form up in groups to launch the attack. That was the last. So we did all our briefing. We were ready. We checked once again our weapon. We checked our grenades. We checked everything. We did our communication setup with the 81 millimeter mortars. And so all these things were done up, and we were ready at the FUP. I think it must be around, say, 6 o'clock or so, because it was the western part. The sun comes out a little late, not like eastern side. Sun comes out a little late. So we were ready at 6 o'clock. We were all set to go, and but then we were slowly moving towards the post, and we were at night. Whatever we had seen, I'm frankly telling you, we were not very sure that where exactly we know the direction, we knew everything, we knew where the sound is coming from, where the voices were coming from, but you had to be 10% sure that that is the post. We should not have gone to any wrong side or wrong thing. Then it would have been a sort of I would say our attack would have been a misfire. Okay, so we were slowly moving ahead, and as I told you, the whole night we were. I think I didn't tell you. The whole night we were only about 800 to 900 meters away from the enemy post, with 800 to 900 meters. So in the morning when we started moving, the enemy, I think they had seen us fully by now, that they are coming. So as we came within their light machine gun range, that is 500 meters or 600 meters, from 600 meters onwards, all of a sudden the entire area then lit up. All of a sudden the silence was totally broken, and the enemy, two brain machine guns and I think 3-4 light machine guns had started firing on us. All of a sudden, you can make it, the real Diwali was about to, it has started firing all over, and that is the time. What would we do? Anyone, the life is the most precious thing, I think. Anyone will say the life is very precious, whether me or you or anyone. And I could feel that experience in my life, that my boys all were down to the earth. The Mother Earth was, ready to embrace them. There was no other way, but they were all down because the fire is coming, live fire going over them and over. And I was also taking a shelter, some behind a cover. It is not that I like a brave and standing right in front. No, I was also taking a shelter, and that is the time when I was doing all that thing. That is the time soldier came to running to me, and he told me that साहब मेजर साहब को गोली लग गई है, और मेजर साहब ने बोला कमांड आप संभालिए. It's a big thing for me now. I didn't know what to do. It was a totally chaos, firing all over. Okay, my boys are, all lying in position. So that is the time, and I get the orders that the Major Saab has got a bullet, and he has told me to take over the command. What I could have done, that was, that is the time how an infantry officer could have done. That is motivating your people, getting that, charge them up, that, the, and one thing was good that, I could tell them that, these, don't want to say those words which I used there, okay, because if I use it here, you people will, run away. But, there, that was the only words which I could use to really, the charge up my troops, charge up my boys, tell them that you are coming from, those families who knew only, warriors. You are the Jats, you are the Rajputs, and how can you give up? Your Major Saab is, been hit by them with a bullet. It's a time that, we go ahead. It is no time to lie down like this. Okay. But I had to also plan my thing, to get them, you can't motivate them, without giving them that security. So that is the time when I asked for my 81 millimeter mortars, which were, from about 7 kilometers away from me. We told them to now, start firing onto the enemy post. Okay. And this is war. This is war. The first, they, on the radio it came, they say, the goal, that bomb gone, like first, fire, they did it from there. But we could not see that, where the hell the bomb is gone, because the post is right in front of us. The BMGs and LMGs are firing on us, but where the mortar bomb, we don't know. After some time, we could see some smoke coming out, maybe for about 2 kilometers away. But that is good enough, that 2 kilometers away, that point which we saw that, the smoke, seen, my mortar, the MFC, that motor controller, who was next to me, and he was not any very big officer or anything. He was just a Nayak Bhavar Singh. I still know his name, Nayak Bhavar Singh. Later he became a Subadar Major and an honorary captain. At that time he was a Nayak Bhavar Singh. He had just come back after doing the motor course in infantry school, Mau. And he told me, Sahab, let me give, let me recheck and let me give, what you call this, bring that bomb, giving them corrections. So he gave what wonderful corrections that boy could give. The next bomb came, I think, just about 500 meters away from the post, and the third bomb arrived right on the post. And once the third bomb arrived, he could say the rapid fire. That means that you can now fire all guns blazing. Those all three tubes of ours started, firing at the enemy post. The whole area, they were firing. Now our mortar bombs had started firing on them. And that is the time my fire base was ready with our medium machine guns, which had a much, higher range. So they had started firing onto them. But it was in my mind still that going, loggerhead onto the post may, not be successful for me, and it may. So many 100 lives are in my hand, and I can't let them go like that. Okay, that thing came in. That is the time, in a war time, you don't know what is happening. That came in my mind, and I told them that we are not going, the loggerhead that, charge and go attack. Let's move, as close as to the enemy. And we started moving from 3 directions towards the post. We started moving from the 3 directions towards the post, and ready for my orders anytime to charge. Okay. So that was that I would say, we had forgotten everything, how much time it took, nothing. In that early morning, cold, it was so cold, but I was sweating like anything. I believe me or not, I was sweating. As if, I was sweating. I think same thing was going on with all my men who were. So we started going in, slowly, closer to enemy, closer to enemy. And now that from three sides when we went there, the after all the enemy was also in that same fashion, as initially it happened to us. They were firing, but they were also worried about the thing that how much force this are coming on to us. Had they known that only a company force, they might have, stood better. But they also thinking, that from three sides, the attack is coming on. What is the thing? They are also little worried. And that is the time that BMG brain machine gun, which was firing, onto us maximum, most effective fire that was going on us. I decided to capture that BMG. And with my men, we just said that charge. And our battle cry was Raja Ramchandra ki Jai. And it was all that, all over, the sound was Raja Ramchandra ki Jai. And we were firing from our personal weapon and charging towards the post. That was the thing going on. And just we could have really gone into, we were main, not only, I think, not even 10 meters away when, these Pakistani, they were Pathans, they came out with white flag. They came out with it because they didn't want to die. Okay, nice. So they knew that in case, so they didn't want to die, and they came out with the white flag, that immediately we could capture, I think, if I'm not 11 of them. They were all from Pakistani elite force 28 Baluch, and the 11 huge Pathan. And I could think, even there's a huge Pathans falling on my feet. Life is so precious that, again, I told you earlier also, for everyone, life is, those Pathans forgot it. They were, falling on my feet, and my men were, bloodthirsty, I would say that time. They were, already known that then Major Saab has been killed, not killed, Major Saab has been, had a bullet, and few more, one or two more, our chaps, got bullet. So they were all, but I could, manage to, hold them up. And I say, please, you know, when a person is, going for pardon, is, falling onto your feet, we cannot kill them cold-blooded. So we made all of them prisoner, all 11 were prisoner, and then the battle had not finished because the rest of the people are all firing from other side. So we moved on to the other side. I left side troop there, and we moved to the other side then, charging into again. And that is the time I think the maximum of our people got bullet injury. I'm very, I would say, the gods, great thing that none of us were killed. There were 7 of them where, had bullet, and in fact the major chap, a bullet went through and through from his chest to the backside, but he survived. He survived. So while chasing the enemy was running now the helter-skelter, and they were running mainly on their vehicles. I told you there were quite a few vehicles. So we could stop 1 or 2 vehicles, and we captured another, how many? Total 24. So 11 we had already captured. So 15 more people, 13 more people we could make prisoner of us there. And that is the time the real battle, not battle, I would say, real fight took place. Some, hand to hand and all. They were also trying to, and that is the time my 5-6 more Jawans were, badly wounded, bullet injury and other injury. Okay, so that is the time. So it took, and the rest, I'm only feeling, I felt very bad that time that the post commander could get away from our hand. He could run away in one of the jeep. We could stop 2 jeeps, but 1 jeep, the post commander could run away. His bunker was what I could get. I could only get his, the epaulet, his stars and all. And I was happy to, I was, that time in a great anger that he has run away from me. How can I leave him? But I had to content, and be happy by having his those two stars, which he was Pakistani star, and that was the thing.
And he ran away, leaving his men behind.
Yeah. By the way, this is the normal thing with the Pakistani. I can say proudly that the Indian Army officer leads his men, always lead
Exactly.
from the front. Okay, and the Pakistani officer remains at the rear. And when he knows the time when he knows that his post cannot be saved, he's the first one to run away. And once the leader runs away, you can imagine what happens to the rest of the troops. So that is how those people also they gave up and they surrendered before us and whatever we unfortunately three of their people were killed, but later when we totally searched the whole area, everything, we had captured a hell of a big lot of armory, uh, 24 rifles, two BMGs, one LMG, 2-inch mortar, radio set, huge lot of ammunition. So that could we could capture all this thing, the biggest thing. But three of them died. After all, they also died for their country, I would say. They also fought for their country, and we gave them, as per the Geneva Convention, we gave them the rightful, what do you call, cremation. At that, we what we were taught how to give it and what to give it, and very proudly, after the battle, we were I could pass the message to my commanding officer that we have succeeded in capturing the post. Anything else you want to know?
So just one thing, that you all were fighting in a desert,
Yeah,
because whenever you are in a hilly region, there is some I mean,
cover.
there is some rocks, yes, there is some
Yes,
cover, but in
cover. Some cover
desert
available.
you are absolutely open. So
Not exactly, I would say. If you have been to a desert, now of course the desert is changed. Now the deserts have become again green. Okay, the same place, the Longewala, when I went later, it is now a greenish look it gives. Okay, but the desert has its some kind of it's like called fog. There are bushes, those called fog and Keri or something, Keri, fog, all these names. So these bushes give us some protection. Definitely, they gave us some protection, and that is how we could move as close to the enemy before going for the final charge. We could go. And one thing I think I forgot to tell you, that before uh, we in army, we believe in God quite a lot. We really, every battalion, when they move from one place to another, they will definitely carry their mandir with them. If Muslim troops, they'll carry their masjid with them, they'll carry their church with them, so that. And before moving from my battalion location, we were at Kishangarh, the place called Kishangarh Fort, and there was a Durga Mata Mandir. Okay, and we all prayed before Durga Mata, and we took her blessing, and I think the Durga Mata's blessing, I would say, it was just like a shield to me and my boys. You see, all those 6, 7, except the company commander Major Rajput, he was not near me, but the other 6 people, they were all next to me. At different times, they were next to me. That bullet could have hit me, but no. I think the Durga Mata shielded me so, and allowed me not to get hit by any bullet. What else?
Sir, actually, when you were telling that the weapons that you had captured at that time, you were telling the exact number. So I was just wondering that it's been 50 years of the war, and you still remember the minute details, the
Yes, yes.
timings,
I
the
remember
movement.
everything. I remember how many radio sets we captured, how many weapon we captured, how many men we captured. I remember everything. It is just like, oh, and whenever I think about that, it gives me, the goose flesh. It give me really sometimes, goose flesh, that yes, we had gone there. But I feel proud. I feel proud. In fact, uh, I'm a sportsman, and I always been, as a child. I was next to the. Nowadays, you all see the TV. But those when I was a child, we used to glue to the radio sets and all. Okay, and I still remember that in 1964, in the Olympics in hockey, when India beat Pakistan, I still, that goal. When India got that goal against Pakistan, Melvin DeMello was the commentator, and I still get his voice on my ears that India wins. And so when we captured Bhaikanwala Khu, I also felt that spirit. I say India wins. Okay? And
Amazing.
unfortunately, I didn't have a tricolor, but I made my boys to sing Jana Gana Mana Adi, the national anthem, standing there at the foreign land at the Pakistani post. What a you can imagine my that time. Why not, the goose flesh comes up that time.
Absolutely.
It will.
Now only we are getting goosebumps, sir, listening to you and just visualizing what was
Yes,
happening at that time.
yes. So it gives that thing, and you could, at a foreign land, at their land, 15 kilometers inside, and getting, their 24 prisoners of war with me, and so much of arms and ammunition. It was just like a win in hockey or cricket, isn't that? And later, my boy, when I came back to battalion, the Subedar Major Saab said that, sir, वो हॉकी फील्ड में आप जैसे जाते थे, बच्चे ऐसे कह रहे हैं कि आप बैटल फील्ड में भी वैसे ही दौड़ रहे थे.
Sir, you were talking about motivating your men at that
Yeah.
point of time, but you were only 21. How you motivated yourself first? That you had only 30 men initially with you and where enemies were of so much numbers. How you first motivated yourself then
Yes.
so that you can
Good
motivate your
question.
men?
Very good question. As a second lieutenant of 21 years, at that time I knew I have got three option only left. Three option. One is one is turn back, leave the battlefield, and get court-martialed. Am I correct? And bring all, like, what should I say? The
Bad
bad
name to
name
the
for
unit.
your family, for your regiment, for everyone, isn't it? The second thing comes in your mind, keep sitting there and get hit like a duck. Just like you're not moving left, right, you're just like a duck. The enemy, you're giving, the all advantage to the enemy is hitting at you, and you are taking it. How long you can sit there, or keep on lying down there? You cannot. So only the third point comes in my mind, that go ahead and get them killed. That's all. Wasn't that? And so if I cannot do it myself alone, so that is my motivational factor. But I have to motivate my people. How motivate? You go to you go to their religion, you go to their caste, you go to their regiment, and when you speak to them like that, in fact, I'm getting, that kind of a Josh now. So you can imagine on that day, what was my, Josh that time. I knew, that I cannot do anything without them alone. Okay. And I have to get them. I have to go and get them, really, strengthened up and give their best. And it took just minutes. The boys were charged up. They were in a different mood. And I knew these boys can do and get the success. They can do anything now. Just leave them and they can do anything. I hope I've
Actually, sir,
answered your
it is
question.
very, it is much more easier to charge up the Rajputana rifles because they have the history to fight. And there are so many examples in their own history to charge them up.
Yes. So that is the motivational
And
factor. If you,
Rajputs are like
yeah,
that only. Even in
yes.
stories also,
Yes,
we find them like that.
yes. So if you hit them on that, I should not say, I should not give up everything. Then, then I think I'll be giving out the secrets of army in that, but you have to motivate your men.
No, they
And
are the
that is,
fighting, I mean,
yeah.
fighting
And that
population
is
of
a,
India.
and that is a major, I would say that is a major task of an officer. Officer
Absolutely.
is the leading from the front itself is a motivating factor. I'm telling you, these boys, they don't want you to get killed, or they don't want. They say they, I forgot to tell you one incident, then and there. So when we were about we were moving slowly inside, and at times we were firing and all. That is the time we were I think 5 6 chaps next to me, very close to me and all. And that is the time my chap behind me, my flunky, whatever you call him, he was behind me, and he just pushed me. He gave me a hard push, and I fell down. The reason, there was a guy, who was firing, the Pakistani chap with the LMG firing. He had taken the aim onto me, but he pushed me to save my life. But in the bargain, he did not duck himself down. He just pushed me, and that bullet hit him. Fortunately, the bullet hit him on his shoulder. He survived. His name Prahalad Singh from 3 Rajputana Rifle. I really owe him my life.
So these type of bonding or sacrifices for one another perhaps motivates you to do more.
Yes, that bonding. That is what I say. The uh, that why the we have the regiments in the name of various type of regiments. We have Rajputana regiments. We have Jat regiment. We have Kumaon regiment. We have Garhwal regiment. We have Gurkha regiment. So they and there like Gurkha says "Ayo Gurkhali." When he learns that "Ayo Gurkhali," he's he really gets charged up. Or that Kumaoni, they like Kali ke Mata ki jai, Kali ke Mata. So that and that is the time it speaks of the caste, it speaks of the region, it speaks of the religion, it speaks of everything. And that is the one very most required thing, at least in Indian Army. Indian Army troops still believe in their religion, still believes in their God, still believe and still believe in their officer. I must say they still believe in their officer. They won't make their officer go hurt or anything, but they will go all out to save him. But officer has to lead them. The officer has to lead them, and they will give their best. What
So
else?
could you get any opportunity to interact with the prisoner of wars,
Of prisoner of
the
war.
POW?
Yes, definitely. Not only only before they were sent or to the prisoner of war camp. After that, I don't know. But during that time, they told me that, like, one chap, told me a story of Karachi and what cinema halls in Karachi, and I felt bad, like the guy who died. When I took out his wallet, he had his wife's and child's photograph in that wallet. So they told me their story. And they were also men like us only. They're also human beings. They're also men like us. So what? They are Pakistani and we are Indian. After all, we are all Indians. We are all human beings. And we have to look for each other. We have to. It is that time, if you cannot, if they hit you one slap, you cannot tell like Gandhiji gets hit me on the second. No, I don't believe in that. If he hits me one, I'll give him two. Okay. So that is the thing.
So
And that is
perhaps
also
to be a
what the spirit of
soldier, this is the spirit
I
of a
can't hear
soldier.
you.
We keep
I
fighting.
can't hear you, Adrija.
Sir, this is perhaps the spirit of a soldier, the values of. No, no, can't hear. Anusha, can you hear?
sir, actually, that is also for the sake of our nation only.
Sir, can you
Volume is
hear
full,
us?
but I can't hear you.
Sir, can you hear
Can
us,
you hear
sir?
me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You can hear me.
yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Sir, hello, can you hear us
Sorry, I
now?
can't hear you at all.
Oh my God. Sir, can you hear me?
What to do? Can you hear us now, sir? So, can you hear us now? Hello, sir, can you hear us now?
Are you on
I think
mute? Yeah,
No,
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 no.
no.
I could just hear. I could just hear if you.
Some connection problem,
Yes, yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah.
That's why.
I can now hear
That's
you.
why.
I can hear you now.
Yes, yes. So that's what I was telling. So this is the values of a soldier who actually fights as a duty, not out of hatred.
Yes, yes,
We keep on what to say grow. We keep on growing those hatred in ourselves. But a soldier never fights out of hatred. They fight as a part of their duty. And
never.
once the
Yeah,
Duty.
job
yeah,
is
never,
done,
never.
they're out of it. They're just a yes.
Yes, that is there.
Yes, Anushwa, you were saying something.
Yes, I was just
Yeah.
saying that if anyone slap me in, I mean, once, I will hit them back, and that is also for our, for the sake of our nation. It is necessary.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Everyone have the right to protect his or her nation.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You're right. That's right. But
Sir,
definitely,
what,
you cannot take things lying down, isn't that?
sir, one thing I would just like to ask you that as you
Yeah.
said that you are a sports person, then how did you take the decision to join army?
During my during my days, I thought, the services team, which is actually services team comprises of Air Force, Navy, and Army. So I used, during my days when I was a schoolboy and all, I used to hear only the services are doing the best in hockey, services are the best boxers, services is the best in the cricket. So it used to be all services because that time they, the in the sports professionalism had not come. It was, we were the best. The Army, Air Force, Navy were the best sports people because we were given the opportunity, and the other, the civilians were not, that they were not professional. As soon as the money started pouring and the professionalism started, you can't beat them. So that is one thing. In fact, I, if you ask me correct thing, the during the we go all after the written test, we go for the SSB, that you must be knowing. And in SSB, my GTO had asked me one question, the same question which you asked me just now, that why do you want to join army? Okay, and I told him that one of my one of my passion is the sports and games, and I thought that other than going for whatever the adventurous life and going for the motherland and all, the another foremost thing for me is to improve upon your sports and games. I'll tell you truth.
Sir, did you have anyone in army from your family? I mean, before you?
I can't hear in
Before you,
between.
is there anyone in army in your
Before you,
family? Is there anyone in army in your family?
no, I can't hear. Before me,
Is there
Uh,
anyone in your family who was in army?
not exactly. Yeah, doctor,
Okay.
doctor. Army, he was there, but doctor. He was in fact in the World War II as a major in, but in the medical group, not in the. But but my I am born and brought up in a place called Dehradun, where Indian Military Academy is also there. And there used to be a lot of centers, Gurkha Center, all Gurkha centers, 39 Gurkha Center, 58 Gurkha Center, all centers were in Dehradun. And so from the childhood, I could see. the Gurkha Johnnies, marching past, the Gurkha Johnnies going for firing. So definitely, you could mold yourself into that. And then I used to see those IMA cadets coming to Dehradun on Sunday they used to come on outpass like later we did, and they used to come so smart, all dressed in their grey suits and hat. Those days they used to wear hat. Now we don't wear hats, but they used to wear hats. Oh, and they will go in their cycles, bike, all in that like a squad, like two bikes and follow two like that. So it was really, I had made up my
in,
mind, yes, the army is meant for you.
in the Paltan Bazaar.
Yes, that's right.
I
Paltan,
was in I was also in Dehradun for 2 years, so I
okay,
also saw them. Yes,
you saw them, huh? So smart guys used to come and, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, that's the time. So here we could see, the Johnnies, the marching, the way they used to march past, the way they used to go for firing. We could see as child, those night firing going on, sounds and all. So the craze was there, and Dehradun itself, a lot of people had joined the army from Dehradun. I was one of them.
Audrija, do we have any question?
No.
Mm. In between, you speak well, and then I will go off the line.
Sir, can you hear? Can
No,
you
I
hear
can't
us?
hear.
Must be
I could
connection
hear
problem.
Anusuya quite a lot, but not
Anusha, then
Adrija
you
totally
speak.
no.
Okay.
Anusha is,
Uh, Sir, it is really an honor for us to have you in today's conversation.
sir is not
Uh-huh.
able to hear. We have to keep trying. I think some connection problem is happening. So
No, sorry,
sometimes
not coming.
not coming, it will come. Sir, please be with us for just few more minutes. Suddenly it will come, I think. Some lose contact with the speaker, I think. The
Something
voice
went
is
wrong again.
no, sir. Some lose connection or some connection problem at that end. Hello.
Audrija, please you call, sir.
Okay, you keep on trying. Just
Yes,
yes. Now I want to show you. Yes.
yeah, now I can hear you.
Sir, it is just I mean, it's really an honor for us to hear you and with such minute details, even after the 50 years of yours, I mean, of the real happening.
50 years, yeah,
And
long.
and actually, as a kid, when we grew up, I mean, 71 word is like a story for us, and mainly we heard about the stories of the PVC battles, and then due to the border, I'm not going to the I mean reality and the show and whatever they have shown in the picture, but whatever we know, it is on the basis of that, I mean the one and only navy operation, naval operation, and Longewala operation and the PVC operations. So it is really an opportunity for us to listen to other battles of the 71 war. So any I mean any thank is lesser to express our I mean real emotion to you, sir, today.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you so much. I will once again say that giving me the opportunity itself here, it's a big honor for me, a big honor, and wish you very best, Ansuya and Adrija. Wish you both very
Thank you
best
so much, sir.
in your
Thank you
life.
so much.
Please do well, and we pray for everyone. And finally, I would like to pray for the our CDS who was
Yes,
unfortunately got air crash, and we pray for his soul and entire people's soul.
entire
Yes.
people.
All the
Thank you
best.
so much, sir. Thank you for your service to the nation. Thank you for being there and protecting us. For your yesterday, we have a safer today.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Go
Sir.
ahead. You're doing a
Thank you,
good
sir.
job. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind.
Yeah.